Hi, welcome everyone. Are you serious, Blue? What the hell? What the helly? Hi. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Quick midweek live here. I told you I would keep you all updated as to any updates on the Carmelo Anthony case, and we have learned today that his legal team has filed a notice of appeal. So let's get right into it. This will be a quick live here, and we are going to source this video. This video is from CBS Texas. Okay, let's get started here. Thank you for being here today. Just want to give everyone a quick update on this case. Again, if you're just joining us, Carmelo Anthony's legal team has filed a notice to appeal. We are going to check out this video, and I also want to read Texas law as it relates to the appeal process. So let's educate ourselves in that aspect here. Now, let me get this party started. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Thank you for joining. Here we go.
Carmelo Anthony's legal team has already filed notice to the court that they do plan to appeal with the Fifth Circuit Court in Dallas. And that is a fairly standard next step, of course, after a conviction. The question now, though, does Anthony have the grounds to try to overturn the verdict? Amelia Magabro spoke with a notable appellate attorney who says the strongest arguments may actually have very little to do with what the jury heard and more to do with whether the trial itself was handled properly.
What were your first impressions looking at everything that transpired with this trial?
The jury reached a verdict here fairly quickly. Given what it was asked to do, that's not particularly surprising with that focus on what exactly happened.
Dallas attorney David Cole has handled appeals for decades. He says he was not surprised with how the murder trial of Carmelo Anthony played out, even after jurors were given the chance to reduce Anthony's punishment if they found he acted under sudden passion.
It's a solid sentence. If they've come to that conclusion, they're going to award a pretty substantial sentence.
This sudden passion argument was kind of added towards the end of this trial. Why wasn't it there at the beginning, and why is it added now?
Because we've determined now that it was murder. It was not self-defense. But in the sentencing context, the sudden passion thing is a sentencing idea. If that happened, well, maybe you get a break on your sentence.
So we now have a sentence. Is there grounds for an appeal as we look forward to the next steps in this case for Carmelo?
The first is, are we in the right county? Should we be in Collin County? I mean, the law says you should be, but I mean, everybody, is there a problem with publicity or we just can't be there? Then we go to the race issue, because that's before we even start the trial, we got to have a jury. And so did we do that right? And then once we got the trial going and heard all the evidence, did we tell the jury what to do correctly?
Cole says one of the biggest issues likely to come up on appeal is how the jury was selected. The defense argued black jurors were improperly removed from the panel, a potential violation of what's known as the Batson Law.
The argument is it's not so much that the jury pool is all white.
You know what's crazy? I know my subscribers, followers, or whatever, we have already discussed everything that is being said. We already went over it. So I am happy to report that we are ahead of the curve. This sudden death, sudden passion ruling, I read that like a week ago. I already saw how this case was going.
The problem is when the jurors were struck, because both sides have the right to take people off that they don't like. The Anthony argument is that the prosecution used it to get rid of the black jurors.
If this goes to an appeal court, what is the likelihood and the probability that this case gets thrown out?
A lot of it will depend in the advocacy and how the court reacts to it. Is the issue in front of the Court of Appeals a question of fact, a question of law? A question of fact is what happened. If the Court of Appeals sees it as questions of law, the chance of success goes way up.
Amelia McGalbro, CBS News, Texas.
Okay, so let's go there actually. Let's talk about the sudden passion. Let's talk about the sudden passion that was added. So here we go. Let me share my screen here. Oh, we're going to get into it today. I mean, it's going to be a quick one here, but I just want to make sure I touch on all of the points I want to touch on here. And here we go. So, now, there was a question here. Okay, here we go. I had this discussion, and here we go. I'm so pissed about the jury. This was June 4th. I'm so pissed about the jury selection in this case. No black jurors, da da da. Of course, I get called dumb and dummy, da da da. Yeah, then tell her she made a dumb comment. Whatever, Gunther. Whatever, dude. And finally, since I'm such a dummy, I'm such a dumbass, right? I am referring to the sentencing under Texas Penal Code 19.02. A defendant can argue sudden passion. This can lower sentence under this ruling if defense can prove defendant was provoked. Now, I want to go to that ruling here. Let's take a look at that ruling. Give me one moment. So while I pull that up here, I want to play this. While I pull that up, this is something I watched yesterday, and it's very super informative here.
Hopefully.
This is not a political channel. I want to make things clear. I want to preface this first and foremost. This is not a political channel. I am well aware. Congresswoman Crockett, she did a live, when was this? Yesterday, with a few other experts. I'm very interested as to what this Dallas attorney researcher, the information she provided. So I want to get to that here. Okay, this is a very good discussion. This is not a political channel. We want to educate ourselves as to what happened to Karmelo Anthony, and that what happened to him will not happen to other kids, right? We want to ensure that due process was done here, and that our first constitutional right was upheld. Hi, Amy. Thank you. I played the video you sent. It was excellent. Excellent. Thank you for providing that. I appreciate you so much. Okay, so let's get started here. I am going to play this while we pull up the sudden death ruling in Texas, okay?
I'm going to go live on IG
get started
as well.
Here we go.
I got appointed to in Dallas County, but it was definitely...
so we're going to skip
the one murder case that just stands out most vividly.
Young woman here.
And it was a capital murder case.
Okay.
She was murdered. I always lead with that when I talk about this case, because I need for people to understand. I already came to this case in those different levels. And then I'm sure Courtney goes through exactly what happened. She will talk about the various lesser includeds that were included as it relates to the charging instrument. If she wasn't planning on doing it, she is now. So I'm turn it over to Courtney real quick, just so you can recap the specifics of like what took place in this case. Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney of Courthouse Couture. As I say on my videos, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. I've been practicing for 16 years in the state of Texas. I used to think I wanted to do murder trials. I would sit in, I would watch murder trials. I shadow countless criminal attorneys. I've helped pick juries. I now work in a civil context because my cousin was tragically murdered, and it was a capital murder case. She was murdered, her unborn baby was murdered, her fiance was murdered. It was a triple homicide. I decided that I likely would be biased if I ever did murder trials, so I decided not to do it. I always lead with that when I talk about this case because I need for people to understand I already came to this case with an ability to see both sides. What you all need to know is in terms of the prosecutor that prosecuted this case, it came up. There have been a lot of things that have come up about potentially the judge knowing the Metcalf family. The pictures that you all saw online weren't true. What is true is that Bill Werski did get in trouble, and Collin County DA's office was sued.
Here we go. So, first and foremost, that picture on Twitter that has been circulating, basically claiming that the Metcalf's family knew the Judge John Roque. So she confirmed it here. This Dallas researcher, I looked her up. And so she's confirmed that that picture is false, but she added on something very important and interesting. You guys take a listen.
Because 6 women said that they were sexually harassed, and there was a massive one.
Now she's talking about the district attorney, okay?
$1.75 million settlement with the Collin County DA's office. That was the same prosecutor that did the opening statements and the closing statements in this case. That's the same prosecutor that you are still seeing on TV that everybody is talking about. He apparently did such a great job relating to the jury. That's the first thing that you need to know. In terms of jury selection, almost about 600 people were called. 589 people were called for jury selection. Those people came in, those people filled out questionnaires, and then they were told that they would be sent a text message to let them know if they would come back for the more intensive questionnaire portion, the in-person question portion of jury selection. Then the jury was selected. The jury was selected, and what we know is the following. We were told there were no Black jurors. Now, what we have heard is that some of the Black jurors were eliminated because they said they could not send Karmelo Anthony to jail. We were not there, so nobody really knows what happened. But in terms of the demographics of the jury, we know that there were 3 Asian women, 1 Middle Eastern woman, 1 woman of color, and everybody else on the jury was.
Yes, Amy. I read the appeal process, and jury selection 100% is up there. That's big. That's huge. C. This was a stupid move by the prosecution. Stupid move by the prosecution. Why not have at least 1 Black juror? If you had at least 1 Black juror, then guess what? The chances to an appeal would be a lot less. Now you have a greater chance that the appeal is approved because of this. Check this out.
A white male. That is including alternates, at least from what I have heard. Once the jury was seated, we know that prosecution and the defense, they decided to do their opening and closings. It is the contention of the prosecution, and it was the entire time, that this was always a murder case. They never felt like self-defense should be on the table. The prosecutor doubled down on it. He said, this is not a murder case. I mean, this is not a case of self-defense. This is a purely murder case.
Right.
It was the contention of the defense that Karmelo Anthony was responding to someone who was a lot bigger than him. Karmelo Anthony, at the time this occurred, was around 5'8", 130 pounds.
Yes.
Austin Metcalf was 6'1", 215 pounds. That's a complete difference in size.
And now times 2. If the allegations, which we don't know, we haven't seen the footage. Everything is sealed. We have not seen the footage. If the allegations are correct, that both both Austin Metcalf and his brother Hunter Metcalf attacked him, that means that now you're at a disadvantage. You're 130 pounds compared to 400 pounds, you know?
We also know now that yes, Carmelo Anthony may have had a tool in his backpack that no, he shouldn't have brought it to a track meet, but it was there. It had a 3.5-inch blade. But also in that backpack, he had snacks, he had school puzzles, and he had a cross. That's not the kit of somebody who is thinking that day that he is going to murder someone.
And on that thought, we didn't hear about this. I mean, at least we don't know. Let's say we just don't know because we have not received the transcripts. We haven't read the transcripts. So we do not know if, in fact, the defense humanized. And I said this on my last two lives, and I am so glad that it was brought up here because the logic is correct. Now, why didn't the defense team humanize him? For example, yes, he had a knife, which he should not have brought. You guys, there's a message here. There's a lesson to be learned here. He should not have brought that knife to school grounds, to a track meet, to a place where there's family, there's children, young kids, parents, families at this track meet. He should not have brought it. But what she is trying to say is that the defense should have also said, hey, wait a second. He had a cross. He had all these board games, also in his bag. Is this the thought process of someone who was intending to kill Austin Metcalf?
What Congresswoman Crockett said so eloquently at the beginning about humanizing someone, that is so important. In particular, it's important for Black men because statistically, we know that in cases like this.
I mean, you're not going to hear this from, I'm sorry to say, it's not racial. This is not racial. I am from a city, I'm from a large city, and we're a melting pot. I myself have a different ethnicities, and we are a melting pot over there. We don't see color. And so, but what she is stating here, you need to hear it.
Black men are more likely to be given harsher sentences than people who are white. That is just pure statistics. They are likely to be given more harsher sentences even when they are not guilty. And we could go on and on about that.
You can't even argue that. It's statistics. It is.
Went on, the majority of the people that were witnesses were students. That is likely why you all didn't get to see this on TV. You didn't get to hear the audio. They were students. And also, I think the judge wanted to really control the outside narrative surrounding this case. There were not many experts in this case. The only expert was the expert who enhanced the video that really wasn't that great of video because the video didn't even show what happened under the tent where the stabbing occurred.
There you go. That's a problem. If, as a prosecutor, your only evidence is this footage, and the footage is not clear to show that Austin was assaulted, that's bad.
That was the only expert that there was.
Wait, let me interject real quick. There should have been whatever the state should have had an expert like for the autopsy.
The medical examiner came.
Okay, all right, cool.
They had a medical examiner.
Be like, y'all lying.
Amy, and again, what you brought up was super, super, super excellent point. And they also bring up the same point, which is crazy. Everything that we've been discussing, we hear it from legal experts, and we're not even attorneys, right? We're not even freaking attorneys, and we're hearing this shit. They said the same thing. There was no evidence pointing to the facts as to Why, Carmelo? Why were you carrying that? Were you in fear? Were you, in fact, in fear for your life? What occurred to you? What was going on in his head, his state of mind at that moment? And again, the defense failed to prove that. Taking the stand, I was for him taking the stand, but now after further thought, it's probably a good move that he didn't take the stand. I'll tell you why. Because if he does appeal, any statements that were said could be used against him. So it's kind of like,
Somebody got to prove that the person was deceased and how they
The
died.
medical examiner came and the prosecution brought forth the medical examiner, but that was it. Everybody else was a student. Besides the expert who did the video, the medical examiner, everybody was a student or a coach.
So let me interject really quickly on this.
That's bad. That's another thing that defense did not do. This needs to be this case should be studied. Law students wanting to study law, especially defense attorneys. This was a failure of a case as far as the defense side goes, and it should be studied. Now, again, this is just logical, common sense. I would say that why didn't the defense hire experts? For example, the only experts that this case had were from the prosecution side, the medical expert as well as the expert for the video footage. Okay. However, the defense did not have any experts, and that's bad. They should have had an expert, a medical expert regarding his epilepsy, right? And his seizures. They should have had his doctor, his physician, or whatever take the stand and tell us more about this condition Karmelo Anthony has. Okay? That's one. Well, right now that I'm thinking of, but there's a lot more that could have been done here.
Self-defense piece, because you brought it up. And I know that that's like where everybody is like feeling away, right? And understanding self-defense and what that means in the legal context. So I went through the forms of homicide, self-defense. All right. So in law school, we learned this thing called the reasonable person standard.
Correct.
And so when you get an instruction
Okay, now let's get to the end of this. I think I showed what I wanted to show here. Like I said, this is not a political channel, and I'm not trying to get political up in here, okay? So what I do want to show is some very important lessons, because there's a lesson to be learned here. And what they said here at the very end is super important, and we should all hear this.
Starts with you engaging in every single way civically. Listen, we still have well over 3,000, almost 4,000 people that are still on with us. For just jumping on. I said as an auntie, I needed to try to get in bed. Has always been the goal for me. It's okay. We need you now more than ever, in all ways. We need you in the courtrooms. Y'all know we got a million.
Here.
It's never been a game for me. Like writing laws that.
No, it's not about her. It wasn't about her.
Has always been the goal for me. Minimizing some of the harm that comes to us by writing. And I just want to say, number one, thank you so much for tuning in. Number two, thank you so much for all of you that are always on the right side of history and are pulling up for your civic duties. Number three, each and every one of you that maybe doesn't necessarily engage, that's okay. We need you now more than ever, in all ways. We need you in the courtrooms. Y'all know we got a million lawsuits against Trump, child. You never know. You just never know. You may be able to save the whole country. I mean, so like,
Be like, the price is right. Come on down. I can't wait.
if you like, who gonna check him? It may be you, boo. Like his ass. Hallelujah. Right? Like, you know, so like you never know. You never know. No, or you may have to show up in the case of a Breonna Taylor on the civil side, or you may have to show up for Karmelo or whom.
What she's saying is like, you know, everyone is up in arms about this. Everyone is up in arms. Not everyone. I'm sorry. There's two sides. You know, obviously it's caused a divide. This case has caused a divide. We see it in social media, whatever, whatever. Now, very important that very important point here.
Or in the child case, right? Like you never know what you're walking into, but like they don't want us to participate, which is why they put all this BS around participation, whether it's in the criminal justice system or whether it's.
That's not the point I want her to make. I'm just like trying to get to the part. I'm sorry. I'm not, this is not about race here. As I said, it's something more here. Come on, get to it. Well, here we go.
System, or whether it's within, or just the judicial system, I should say, or whether it's within voting. Just understand that like we are a resilient people. But at some point in time, we can't just stand there and take it just because we can. We absolutely have to do our part in this moment. Like one of my favorite songs, and I'll shut us off.
I missed it. Sorry, you guys.
That's life, and it's like, okay, we just need you to consider. Can you consider it? I just need you to consider. So, Black people, stop walking yourself off the juries. First of all,
there we go. There we go. Stop walking yourself off the jury.
Is people like.
There we go. Stop walking yourself off the jury. You know, you want to make a difference. You want to make a difference. Sit in one of these cases. You know, it's a civil duty we have here.
Kicked off the fastest that I asked them over and over and over. So we know that someone has died. We know that the state has alleged that their death was criminally caused by my client in some way. Would you be able to consider the entire range of punishment, including possibly probation, even though on that issue alone, then you're not qualified. If you ain't, people, stop walking yourself off the juries. First of all, make sure you show up. That's one thing we didn't say.
There we go.
That's what I've been wanting
to say.
That's gonna be the civic message.
There we go.
Stop wondering why.
There we go. Let's learn from this, right? Here we go.
Our kids are not being saved.
You don't go to jury duty.
We literally have people that don't even see their humanity 9 out of 10 times pulling up to jury duty, and you saying you got other things to do, and you trying to come up with every excuse for not showing up. You got to pay it forward. Every single Black person that I know has had somebody that has been impacted by the criminal justice system. You need to show up to jury duty. It don't matter if you go into the criminal or the civil or whatever. You need to show up to jury duty, and you need not sit there trying to figure out how you're gonna get out of it. Pretend like you're part of Law and Order.
I mean, is she right or what? I think she's right here.
Baby, do something.
But pretend you watching Law and Order. Pretend you watching Law and Order, baby.
But it is the most patriotic thing you can do.
Yeah.
Is show up to jury duty.
Yeah.
And be able to lend your lived experiences, and stop saying y'all can't get.
There we go. You'd be able to lend your lived experiences. That's what I'm saying. A jury of your peers, right? If there was a Black juror that understands, that was able to lend their experiences, but there wasn't.
Give life, because under the right circumstances, baby, y'all can do a lot of stuff. The reality is that you need to learn You don't get to learn. You may have somebody who's got a dope charge that's facing life, but by the time you get to punishment, you may find out that they had already been convicted of rape about 5 times before anyway. Like, there are circumstances. So you just have to be able to consider the entire range. So I guess that's something I'm gonna do this summer is I'm gonna go around because I ain't been back in my legal bag in a long time, but I really big duty and let's get you. She followed this case closely. A fear and agony that I promise you, the Metcalfs probably never spent a day living that way. And we're gonna have to have just some real conversations about race.
That's what I'm saying. What she just said. I'm sorry again.
I'm gonna go around because I ain't been back in my legal bag
This
in a
is
long time.
this is
but
something
I
interesting.
really want to promote because that was one of the things I really want to promote people.
No, I don't like this. That should again. I'm telling you, when you take what you can, right? Out of this, I took what I can, but this other stuff she's saying, no, thank you. Like promoting herself, no, baby. That I'm not paying attention to that. But I do like this that she says right after this. Listen,
engaging in civic duty in all ways, not just at the ballot box, but if you want to volunteer or can volunteer in some kind of way for a campaign, if you want to run for office, actually know what you're doing and don't be out here trying to be these white reality stars that are running as Republicans because that ain't you.
Spencer Pratt, Lord.
So
like really, girl, like stop it. Just stop it right there.
like let's get you trained up so that you can be ready to actually do the job and do it well. And let's talk about serving on juries. Do not look for every reason to get out. And I know that it is a sacrifice, but as one of my best friends was texting me tonight, she followed this case closely, mostly because she's a mom of 2 Black boys. Black women, especially Black women who have Black male children, live in fear and agony every single day. A fear and agony that I promise you, the Metcalfs probably never spent a day living that way.
I mean, I think that's true. My opinion.
Knife, whatever it was. I will be happy to post the.
So she also brings up the fact that we don't know what type of weapon it is. They haven't showed it. She's like, what is it? Is it a knife? Is it a pick? What is it? We don't know. They haven't showed us. They're only showing us pictures of a similar weapon, okay?
Actual one. I won't be engaging in the misinformation of it all. I want to say thank you to every single one of y'all for just jumping on. I said as an auntie, I needed to try to get in bed. I was out last night, doing, it's never been a game for me on my experiences. I can go on and on and on. It was a Swiss. Well, we all know what a Swiss Army knife is. Listen, stop sending me what y'all think.
If I don't find it, it's okay.
So for those of you who are like, well, it should have been capital, or why was it?
But basically, she said something to the effect of
Interviews that Hunter did, because again, I watched exactly when it happened. Hunter basically told on them in an interview that he did. It was him and his mom in front of their house, I believe, with the TV station. Did they bring that up during the trial at all?
I don't know what interview she's talking about, but we're gonna look for it.
I don't think so. And that put Hunter on the stand because he talked to the media quite a bit.
So only because the language that was used specifically by the officer supposedly was that it was a tool. And so
right. That's what I'm saying. I believe the police report also references a tool. So, but why not just say it's a knife then? I'm really confused. And this is blurred area here. This whole weapon seems to be a mystery still. And I mean, he's already been convicted of first-degree murder. So why is this still a mystery about this weapon? I don't know at this stage.
He sent me this cleat.
You get what I'm
tool
saying?
That looks. So y'all, okay, y'all ain't running. And I don't think if it's the other one, I'm like, well, that's a little. Oh, wait a minute. Y'all keep sending me pictures. Yeah, I knew you.
Any of the media even saw it because I think only the jury got to see the replica and the
See, again, the replica. It was a replica of the weapon, and it wasn't the actual weapon.
jury left the courtroom to view, I think, the photo. So I don't even know if
Look, I just
the
don't
media
know.
even saw it, to be honest.
And this is problematic in itself. I'm sorry. The whole, shutdown of the media, I think all of this is problematic and indicative of the judge trying to control the narrative and for us to not be able to see exactly what was happening.
I disagree. I think that the judge made the right decision. I do. I don't think it was wrong for the judge to run a strict program the way he did. I think that was smart of him, considering all that is happening in the racial that don't nobody want to talk about, the racial undergirding of this trial, of this whole situation since last April. I think it was smart of the judge to take all precautions that he could. The media was there. Now, if the media didn't do a good job communicating out,
There we go.
Call into question.
There we go.
That's
Well, because again, they're media paid by, it's they're media puppets. Their job is on the line. They can't, sway from the narrative. They can't sway from the narrative. This is why I like watching channels that are independent journalists to get more details on the case and more perspective.
reasonable, but the public, some people from the public were able to get in. It was still a public trial.
They had 27 spots every day for the public, only 9 spots for media. But I also think they didn't want cameras and audio because we had all of these people under 18 on the stand.
And that's fine. The kids, I understand.
The kids were testifying every day.
I think that the answer is, I agree with both of y'all. I've had to deal with high profile cases for sure. More so attack.
Amy, that link, can you send it in a comment on a post or any video? For some reason, I can't click on the link, but it's probably easy to find. I'll look for it.
Attached to probably like a civil rights case that somehow was in some high profile, like just straight up criminal cases as well. I think in this scenario, so that you don't have people doing what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Exactly.
Wondering.
I think the transparency of it all, like
boom, 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 boom. I mean, like all around. People are saying, "Oh, everyone's making a big deal about this case. Who the hell cares?" Eye for an eye type deal. Yeah, you have a life that you have a kid that murdered someone, and took his life. But beyond a reasonable doubt, though, for the first degree murder, I just feel that the charge doesn't fit the crime, in my opinion. And a lot of us feel this way. And this is why we're still talking about it. This case is super interesting. This case, it's just opening our eyes to the cracks in our legal system, right? The cracks in our legal system, and especially with a state like Texas, right?
I'm like, oh, he was told not to have the knife. I can see where if that came into evidence, that jurors are like, and this is what this, because you have to understand how real people think. Forget the instructions. Because I tell them, I'm like, I know that you ain't know these instructions before you came in. So I need to know who you are right now. Like, I need to know like who you are. And I could see jurors being like, if he hadn't done this, and we know that that's not the real test, right?
Right.
Because it's like, if he hadn't been born, then, he wouldn't have been like, you can't,
Right,
it's only so far that you can go.
Right.
But when they're like, well, he should have just listened to adults and he shouldn't have done this or whatever. Like that ends up being a problem. But I hadn't even like, and those are the kind of things that in a voir dire, you should be trying to get to all your weaknesses in your voir dire, without necessarily getting to the specifics of like you got to see how people feel about
Voir dire in Texas, it's called, in other words, essentially it's a jury selection. That's what that is, voir dire.
some of this kind of stuff, and you can't find out once they come up with like the decision. So it is always important to understand. The hardest part for me, in a good way, to actually really bust a panel on a homicide, if you know that you're going to be going for manslaughter, right? If you know that you're going for manslaughter qualifies you for probation. And because in Texas, we didn't talk about bifurcation of trials, but in Texas, you get to choose if you want a judge or a jury for both your guilt, innocence, as well as your punishment. You can decide
That's
which
interesting.
one you want to do
Right.
what. Typically, we go to a judge for sentencing if our client's got a long history, because a lot of people don't really understand that, but judges see that all the time. So a lot of times you'll just go to the judge unless your judge has a real bad track record. But nevertheless, so when you go through your voir dire, if you are going to go to the jury for punishment as well, which that's already designated prior to beginning trial, then you voir dire on punishment issues. And the one that usually gets people like kicked off the fastest, that I ask them over and over and over. So we know that someone has died. We know that the state has alleged that their death was criminally caused by my client in some way. Would you be able to consider the entire range of punishment, including possibly people stop walking yourself off the juries? First of all, make sure
use it as, hey, if you want a good law and order end result like we have
I can only begin to guess how bad it fell off by the time you started to get down to like the judicial level. But we know even the other statewide, like people legitimately, like they were done. After the top two races, the Republicans were beating the Democrats. So I just want y'all to know, like Democrats, sounds like he referred to it as a tool, because it was final paragraph that I think is relevant, and then we can.
She received the jury instructions.
Just a little bit.
She got the jury instructions. Okay, let's do that. It was a point she brought up, which we need to tell our children that she brought up a good point. Not a good point, but just emphasizing here that we have to tell our children, you do not speak. You do not say anything. You call your mother and get a lawyer. You do not say anything, one word. And I think we need to educate our children that not to speak, not to say a word. Even if you feel like you have done nothing wrong, no, you need an attorney. You have to practice that right. We have that right. Okay. So now what I want to move on to is, let's see if we find, here we go. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to get some more details here. It's titled Family of 17 Old Tracks Should Come Up. Okay, we'll do. Okay, so we're going to check out this interview, you guys. Let's see. I've never watched it, so let's go there. YouTube, the tube. And let's type in here. Family of 17. Okay. Here we go. Yes. Got it. Let's do it.
Don't rush cherry dark chocolate.
Let me know if you guys can hear this, and let's get
I
started.
was mad. My son is not here anymore, and I don't understand it.
This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough. Because these families are victims too. They're victims. Here we go.
Just tell me about what happened today.
I don't know. I got a phone call from Hunter. He was screaming that Austin had been stabbed. I was at work, and so I drove. I work in Grapevine, so I drove up to the hospital straight away. I actually beat the ambulance there.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw them have him come out. He was on a lot of machines, and it didn't take long for them to come in to say that he had passed. So, not sure, senseless act of a boy that was in the wrong tent, and my son doing the right thing by telling that boy that he needed to be removed from where he was, and just doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's just because the kid was mad, my son is not here anymore, and I don't understand it.
Tell me about Austin. What do you want people to know about your boy?
Oh, he was the most amazing kid. Oh, so smart. He had college football guys looking at him to play in college. His goal was to play in college. He just wanted to play football. His life was going to the gym and working out and being a leader on his football team. And he just had such ambitions and a drive that it's hard to find in a kid. And he's just such a good spirit. And so many kids loved him. And his brother lost his best friend.
They're twins, right?
Yeah, identical twins. Yeah.
They've been like,
they are the best of friends. Like, just I'm so worried about my son because he's gonna have to face this world alone now, because he had a brother that was with him the whole time, and now he's gonna have to do it alone. And I'm just so worried about him. I really am.
was Hunter with Austin today?
He was. They made him go away when they were doing CPR on him, but he was there when he was stabbed, and he was holding, I guess, the wound to keep it from. He was trying to save his brother, but I think he said he saw when he took his last breath, and before the CPR came back in. So, for what I heard, he was unresponsive for 5 minutes. They were able to revive him a little, but I think it was too little, too late.
What can the community do for your family?
They need to support the kids at the school. Austin was loved by so many people. They need to know that there's other people out there for them and not against them, you know. And Frisco Memorial has got a football program it's in a process, and we want everybody to know that it's a family and they're there together. So, but just to put your arms wrap around the support. This is Hunter. Did you want to talk to him?
Oh, man.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
He's a good kid.
Oh my God, I'm about to lose my shit. But look how she looks at him, bendito. Look at how she looks at her boy. Oh no, I'm about to lose it. Oh boy.
We just got a little altercation, and that's really it, but he has a good heart.
We just had a, wait 1 second. We just found a little altercation.
And that's really it, but he has a good heart. Everyone around here knows he's a great kid. He just one mistake from that dude, and this. He has a good heart. Everyone around here knows he's a great kid. He just one mistake from that dude, and this.
Is he talking about Karmelo having a good heart, or is he talking about his brother? Hold on.
Everyone around here knows he's a great kid. He just one mistake from that dude, and this just took my brother. Just he's a great kid. He just one. He's a good kid.
He's a good kid. He's a good kid. Is he talking about Karmelo or his brother?
We just got a little altercation, and that's really it. But he has a good heart. Everyone around here knows he's a great kid. He just one mistake from that dude, and just took my brother.
Oh, the reporter is trying to hold it together too.
He didn't deserve it. No one deserves a loss from a family like that. I know people that lose their family members all the time, but I just didn't know it was gonna be mine so soon. I'm my best friend and my brother my whole life, but if y'all could just not y'all, sorry. Just thank y'all for just comforting us, and the Frisco area has been comforting my family and me, and I just really appreciate everything that everyone's done. It's a really hard loss, but we're gonna get through it with my family, so we'll just stay together. I mean, our relationship is really the tightest I've ever seen in somebody, between two human beings. I mean, we did everything together, clean the dishes together, do the artwork together, sports, you name anything in the world, it's always us two and one thing. So you're always just basically one person.
You guys just a few minutes apart?
4 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Austin was first by 4 minutes. He got stuck in me.
So technically your bigger brother.
Yes, ma'am. He does a lot of big brother stuff around. He's always on my back. Even if I'm in the wrong, he'll always take my side no matter what it is. So it's just really heartbreaking to see someone that cares for you that much and does everything even by your side no matter what. Just
what if, oh my God, you know what occurred to me? What if he, I mean, we don't know because we haven't seen the footage, but what if the brother was the one fighting with Karmelo, and then Austin actually wanted to protect him? You know what I mean? And went after Karmelo, trying to protect his brother. That he's gonna have to live with that. Oh my God, that's horrible.
that's way like that.
Amy, I agree with you. Amy. There's wording here he's using, especially when he says this part. Watch. And he says, that's it.
Oh, man.
Here, listen.
We just found a little altercation.
We just found a little altercation. Okay. Playback. There's definitely more. There's definitely more that went on under that tent. You're not going to tell me that it's going to go from them telling Karmelo to get out of the tent to Karmelo pulling out his knife and stabbing Austin. No, there's levels to this shit, Watch.
And that's really it, but
and that's really it. And that's really it. That part right there. And that's really it. Typically, people say, and that's it. And that's it. When they don't want to provide more, when they're holding back. I mean, this is not to analyze his wording, but this is not to analyze his language here, but I'm just picking up what I am hearing.
We just found a little altercation.
We just found a little altercation.
And that's really it, but...
And that's really it. We just found a little... Okay, here we go. I mean, I didn't want to go there, but he minimized the altercation by calling it little. So you're minimizing that altercation, okay? And then, not only that...
He has a good heart. Everyone knows around. And that's really it, but...
And then he says, and that's really it. That's it. Just a little altercation, that's it. No, it's impossible. It's impossible that it was a small altercation that caused this to happen. But it's just my opinion.
He has a good heart. Everyone knows.
Now, when he says he has a good heart, I'm not clear as to if he's talking about his brother or if he's talking about Karmelo. He says he has a good heart. Everyone knows, everyone around you knows he's a great kid. So I'm curious, is he sticking up for his brother? Like, yeah, we just had a little we just had a little fuck, I can't speak today. We just had a little altercation, but that's it. I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. And then after that, he says, everyone knows he's a good kid. Huh. So were we to believe that he wasn't? Why are you proving he was, or why are you talking on his behalf and trying to prove he was a good kid if he wasn't? I don't know. I hope I'm making sense.
Everyone around you knows he's a great kid.
Everyone knows he's a great kid. But who in fact is stating he is not? Who is saying he's not a good kid? I'm confused here.
Just one mistake from that dude.
This is just one mistake from that dude. Okay, now I get it. Okay. That dude is Karmelo. That dude is Karmelo. And prior to this statement, he was talking about his brother. So now that I got that, let's listen to it one more time. Ready?
Thank you. He's a good kid.
He's a good kid. That's his brother. He's talking about his brother now. Okay? He's a good kid.
We just got a little altercation. That's really it. But he has a good heart. Everyone knows. Everyone around you knows.
Everyone knows he has a good car. He has a good heart. He's a great kid, right? So, but why do you have to tell us then? Why?
He's a great kid. Just one mistake.
Just one mistake from that dude. From Karmelo. And I agree 100% it was a mistake. I agree, Hunter. It was a mistake.
That dude and just took my brother. He didn't deserve it. No one deserves a loss from a family like that. I know people.
Who is saying he deserved it? Maybe the other party? Okay, I get it.
I lose their family members all the time. But I just didn't know it was gonna be mine so soon. My best friend, my brother, my whole life. But if y'all can just not y'all, sorry. Just thank y'all for just comforting us, and the Frisco area has been comforting my family and me. And I just really appreciate everything that everyone's done. It's a really hard loss, but we're gonna get through it with my family. So we'll just stay together. I mean, our relationship is really the tightest I've ever seen in somebody, between two human beings. I mean, we did everything together, clean the dishes together, do the artwork together, sports.
He looks at his mother a lot when he's talking.
You name anything in the world, it's always us two.
Like for an approval, he's seeking approval.
And one thing, so you're always just basically one person.
You guys just a few minutes apart?
4 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Austin was first by 4 minutes. He got stuck in me.
So technically, you're bigger.
Oh, this makes me so sad because, oh my God, this makes me so sad for him. Look at him. Look at him. The trauma. He's traumatized. He is traumatized.
Yes, ma'am. He does a lot of big things.
I hope he gets help. I hope he gets a lot of help and therapy.
Around. He's always on my back. Even if I'm in the wrong, he'll always take my side no matter what. It's just really heartbreaking to see someone that cares for you that much and does everything, even by your side no matter what, just pass away like that.
Mm-hmm. Your mom told me that you were there.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, if you don't mind, what happened?
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started
he said we asked him to move. So both him and Hunter and Austin asked him to move. So now we have to picture this. We have to picture Karmelo sitting down and these two football players coming and telling him to move.
Getting aggressive and talking reckless, and my brother.
He was getting aggressive and talking reckless because, of course, ego. You have these are teenage boys. They're high school boys.
Stepped in and said he needs to move.
And then his brother stepped in and said he needs to move. Now, we heard reports that his brother was suspended. He wasn't even playing. He wasn't allowed to play. I don't even know for a fact if he was even allowed there. So that in itself is sad because had he not been there, but you know, we don't, this is not, you know,
He's like, make me.
you don't think of these things, right? Until after it happens. Obviously, you don't know that something this terrible, tragic is going to happen to you.
Move. Austin grabbed his backpack. My brother stepped in and said he needs to move.
My brother stepped in and said, you need to move.
He's like, make me move.
And Karmelo said, make me move.
Austin grabbed his back.
Austin, this is not also, it's Austin grabbed his backpack. You hearing this? Not also.
Pack. The kid. I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see.
I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see. But I mean, I don't want to do this to this kid. Let's just listen to it. I don't want to do this to him.
The stab, but then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So.
Yeah.
The way he's talking about it, like it happened so fast, but it didn't happen this fast. They were under that tent. According to the reports, they were under that tent for about 4 minutes. What he's telling us, the timeline he's telling us doesn't make sense. It's not going to take you 4 minutes to tell somebody to get up and move. There was something that happened. They were underneath that tent for 4 minutes. So it wasn't an incident. It wasn't a situation where they're literally telling you, okay, please get out and move. And then Karmelo comes out and stabs him. It couldn't have happened that way because they were under the tent for 4 minutes. So a lot happened. It escalated to that point, and that's what we're missing. We're missing that timeline of from when these boys told Karmelo, get out of the tent, get up and get out, to when Karmelo stabbed him and that with that deadly blow, right? That's 4 minutes. So the in between there is what we're missing here.
And I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So just that's just what I saw. I try to whip around as fast he move. Austin grabbed his back, and my brother stepped in and said he needs to move. He's like, make me move. Austin grabbed his backpack.
And he was like, make me move. Austin grabbed his backpack. And then what? You see how it stops there? And then all of a sudden he says, I whipped around so fast.
I try to whip around
I tried to whip around as fast as I could.
As fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So just that's just what I saw. And I try to help him, but
it was just senseless.
It was.
He's traumatized. Oh boy.
Really senseless. Really, I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just.
Oh, he paused after just over that. Hang on.
Just over that
over that, and then he paused. Listen.
I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just.
You see that? Just over that, and then he again, minimizing what happened. He opens up his statement stating it was a little why the fuck can I say that word? Altercation. Little altercation. That's how he's opening up his statement, minimalizing it. And now again, he says the same word.
It's just crazy in this world nowadays how a person would do that to someone just over that little argument.
Little argument. But we didn't get to hear the argument. What was the argument? We didn't get to hear that part, though.
It's just crazy in this world nowadays how people just up and do that. Like that man has a family. That man has people that care about them all the time, and he did everything for our family too. He was a strong man. He was a strong kid. Mm-hmm. He was strong, and I know I'm strong too, but he's a little stronger. But he did a lot for our family and a bunch of stuff that we just don't recognize. And it's just like, especially throughout our friends too, like everyone knew like he was the peacemaker. He was, so I'm saying, like, heard someone who really makes peace, really calms peace down. He makes everything sail smoothly. Because I get upset, but then he calms me down. He was just always there for me. So it's just really heartbreaking to see like how this happened.
Oh my goodness. You guys are
17.
Yeah, they'll be 18 in July.
I saw a lot of the articles say you guys were 16. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, they're 17.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Austin wanted to play football.
He wanted to play college football.
He would have. For sure.
He definitely used his mindset, his skill level, his IQ at the game was probably the best I've seen in the Frisco area.
Yeah.
As a linebacker, he was a stud, and I always try to fill those shoes with him and play with him. And I had a blast my whole life playing sports with him my whole life. It was just me and him always good against people. And last year together was this year, so it's just really heartbreaking not to see him next year on the field.
I'm so sorry, my love. Oh my goodness. I saw that he won like linebacker of the year.
For the Frisco Memorial, he was
second team all district, which he should have been first.
Yeah.
But it's just everyone knows around this area the impacts of what he does for football and what he does for families and friends. Like, he's just a great guy overall to be around, and
hard worker.
Extremely. It's just really hard. It's just really hard to see someone go like that just for like recklessness.
Mm-hmm. My focus of my story is, of course, on Austin. That is what's most important. But what would you say about the suspect and what's next?
I don't know anything about him. We have nothing to say.
I've never met this kid until right then. It really was under 30 seconds, this altercation. I've never met this kid in my.
He said it was under 30 seconds, but that's not what the footage shows. The footage shows they were underneath that tent for quite some time. I'm confused about the timeline here.
Right then, it really was under 30 seconds, this altercation. I've never met this kid in my entire life. And it's just.
And to be honest with you, we don't want to give him any recognition or any care, because we have no desire to have anything to do with that man. So.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her one bit.
If I can hear you, what would you say to him?
I'd say that's really hard, but I'd say a lot of things because I saw him for his last moments, and it was just.
How much we loved him. He knew that.
He knew how much I loved him, how much I do for him. I do anything for him.
Yeah.
No matter what. Just call me. I think anything that he needs, I'll do it for him. He's just a great guy. So when you have a great guy, you want people to be around you. They're going to be around you no matter what. Like, he's a great leader. That's why I always want to tell him, like, I always wanted to be like him in that sense. It's like how he just communicates and has great ways with people all the time. And I always looked up to him for like that. He was a big brother in a sense. He was the same age, but he was a big brother to me.
We just want to make sure that everybody knows how much that Austin is going to be still in our lives, as far as in our memories and our hearts forever. You know, it's going to be really hard. This is going to be really hard.
I can see how much you guys love and adore him.
Yeah, I'm really trying not to cry, but it's
No, it's your baby.
Yeah. He was my big baby. He was 225 pounds.
Yeah, 225 pounds. So the father, I heard Amy, the father did forgive Karmelo, but then this was when this was happening around this time, he forgave Karmelo. But the witness impact statements from what was said, I don't think, I don't know. he might have retracted that statement, because the way what he was saying was like pretty harsh. I mean, I don't blame none of these parents for feeling the way they're feeling. God forbid.
Both of them big boys, and I loved movie time with them. They would ask me if we'd watch a movie and sit on the couch, and he'd put his head on my lap, and I'd scratch his back, and he was just, I don't know, he'd tell me things. He was so personable with me, and you know, I knew stuff that most teenagers wouldn't tell their moms. That just.
I know you were with him till the end, right? Did you hold him the whole time?
I didn't. They yanked me off him.
Yeah, they had to leave. He had to be removed when they did CPR. And then he wasn't able to be in the ambulance with them on the way to the hospital.
So it was just like heart throbbing the whole time, the whole ride on the hospital.
How did you get to the hospital?
My dad came. I called my mom. My mom didn't know. She didn't answer. She was at work, and then she answered my phone. I told her what happened. She came in right away, and then we drove to the hospital. We're trying to fit everything out.
Yeah, it was hard. That was tough, because I beat the ambulance there. I don't even know how that's possible, but I did, because I came in from Grapevine.
Well, that's that. Now we're going to look at the appeal process for Karmelo Anthony here. Okay. Whoa. Oh man. That was that. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to share this right here, and let's take a look. Okay. So it says if Karmelo Anthony is convicted in Texas state court, he would have the same appellate rights as any other criminal defendant. Oh, the father speaks. Actually, Amy, one second, Amy, my bad. Thank you, Amy. Let's share one more thing, because the father does talk. My bad. Here we go. Let's listen to dad.
As far as you know, the events of this morning, what happened? How did you get the call? How did you figure out what happened to your son?
Well, it started with a call
Oh, this
from
is
a
so low.
and said, I think Austin has been stabbed. And I said, where at? And he said, Kuykendall Stadium. And we'll meet again.
Your faith is keeping you strong right now.
Yep. It's the only thing that's keeping me together. I was scared, but I was hoping like he's stabbed in the stomach. It's not going to be that big a deal, surgery, as long as he's okay. When I saw him, I knew it wasn't good. And then when his brother told me, Dad, I tried to hold the wound to the blood, but there was too much. And he died in my arms. You know, I hadn't even thought about that. That's a good idea. GoFundMe. I'll probably have someone set that up. And, you know, he impacted a lot of lives. White, yellow, brown, I don't care. It's all about human beings. We got to care about each other. We got to be kind to each other. You need to show compassion and pray to God this doesn't happen to yours.
Okay, so
It's a different world. It's unfortunate. He's having D1 colleges contact him. He had a great life ahead of him. Watched his brother die. He would want us to be strong. Matter of fact, the ranch we own, the lease was not renewed, so we could never hunt there again.
And he also was on the track and field team?
Also was, football was his pride and joy. Yeah. He was working on track to increase his speed. Are amazing. My other.
Quickly, I mean, is that what he kind of told you what happened? That
many high schools were there. It started to rain, and they have their own little tent for memorial, and they were sitting there, and someone was behind them mouthing off, and he turned around and said, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm Mello." He said, "Well, you don't belong here. You don't go to memorial." He had a Centennial tracksuit on, and he said, "You need to leave. This ain't your spot." And some words were discussed. I'm not going to say on camera
okay.
He asked him to leave and basically said, "Make me." And then he wound up stabbing him in the heart and killing him. All over someone sitting in the wrong spot at a track meet. Now, I don't blame his parents. I don't blame him. But they all will suffer too. I feel for their family because now their son will probably wind up in prison and learn that he killed someone. And he devastated and took my son that I can never get back.
Yep. That's right.
It's unfortunate for everyone involved.
Yep. Exactly.
And, I just hope it doesn't happen to anyone else. This world, there need to be changes.
So I thought he did forgive him, but maybe it's another interview. So there's that. Now let's go back to this here. I want to share. Here we go. So let's talk about what's next for Karmelo Anthony after he has appealed. Let's see what the process is here. Here we go. It says notice of appeal. So today he filed his legal team filed a notice of appeal. Okay. If Karmelo Anthony is I don't know what happens. Give me one moment. Hello. Hello. Okay, here we go. If Karmelo Anthony is convicted in a Texas state court, he would have the same appellate rights as any other criminal defendant. An appeal is not a new trial. Again, an appeal is not a new trial. They are going to review anything. They can't review anything outside of the case. What they're going to review is obviously what we didn't see. Any evidence that was presented at trial. That's what they're going to review. It's not going to be a new trial, okay? The appellate courts review the trial records. So they're going to take a look at the footage. They're going to take a look at all the transcripts, right? And witness statements. And the appellate courts review the trial records to determine whether legal errors occurred that may have affected the outcome. Notice of appeal. After sentencing, which we saw, the defense must generally file a notice of appeal. That's been done within the time limits set by the Texas rules of appellate procedure. Typically, it's done within 30 days, okay, after sentencing. Or 90 days if a timely motion for a new trial is filed. Second, the preparation of the appellate record. The trial court clerk and court reporter prepare the official record, including trial transcripts, exhibits, motions of rulings, jury instructions, and sentencing proceedings. Okay, so all of that the court appellate will review. Next, appeal to the Texas Court of Appeals. Okay, the case is first reviewed by the Texas Court of Appeals for the district in which the conviction occurred. Because the case is in Collin County, the appeal would ordinarily go to the Fifth Court of Appeals in Dallas. Okay, so this may be good news for Karmelo here that this will be taken to Dallas. Second, the defense, the appellant, files a brief arguing the legal errors that occurred, and the prosecution files a response. Okay, so the prosecution is going to have a chance to respond to the defendant's claims. It's like you're putting in a dispute, essentially. Okay. The common appellate issues may include here improper admission or exclusion of evidence. I think they have an argument about the actual weapon. I don't know, maybe. Because I don't know what the rules are, actually, what the law is, but only showing a replica of the weapon, I don't think that's right at all. We don't even know. We don't know if it was a tool or a weapon. This is where we're at right now. This is where we're at. Errors in jury instructions. This is very important. I'm gonna link that that video that I played to open up the show. I'm gonna link it to the description box. She actually read out the jury's instructions. So what I need to look for this. If she read them, then it has to be public somewhere. So I need to find this. Next, prosecutorial misconduct, when the prosecution acts unlawfully, judicial error, insufficient evidence to support the conviction, constitutional violations, for example, due process or fair trial concerns. I think that's one. The appellate court may affirm the conviction, reverse the conviction, and order a new trial. That is a risk the defense will have to take, because a new trial will mean new evidence, new jurors, everything. And he may get more than what he was already sentenced to, right? He may get the actual limit. You don't know. That's a risk you're going to have to take. Reverse and render a judgment of acquittal in limited circumstances. Interesting. They can flat out acquit you. Remands the case for further proceedings, such as sentencing hearing. Now I want to ask this. Can Karmelo, based on this process, can Karmelo Anthony argue juror selection to be acquitted for first-degree murder? Yes. Jury selection issues can be raised on appeal, but they generally cannot by themselves result in an outright acquittal. Interesting. More commonly, if an appellate court finds that a significant error occurred during the jury selection, the remedy is reversal of the conviction and a new trial, not a judgment of not guilty. Oh, shit. This is possibly where we may end up here. reversal of the conviction and a new trial. Wow. For example, an appeal could argue that a biased juror should have been removed for cause. The trial court improperly denied a challenge for cause, forcing the defense to use a peremptory strike. The prosecution improperly excluded jurors based on this one. That's what the defense was arguing, guys, all along. And the defense filed that motion. If the defense filed that motion, they're going to bring it up. They are bringing this shit up, baby. The prosecution improperly excluded jurors based on race or sex in violation of the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Batson versus Kentucky. Wow. The prosecution was really stupid. They could have at least one black juror, and wow. Extensive pretrial publicity deprived the defendant of an impartial jury. The court improperly denied a motion for a change in venue. I think they should have changed venue. I think the defense should have changed the venue to Dallas or something. However, to obtain relief, the defense generally must show not only that an error occurred, but also that the error was harmful under the applicable appellate standards. Interesting. Wow, okay. Oh, here, let me ask it. Is the jury instructions public for Karmelo Anthony's case? Let me see if it links it. I mean, she is a congresswoman, that Crockett lady, the Croc lady. She is a congresswoman, so maybe she has access to certain things that we don't. I don't know. I'm just saying. This is legally interesting, and I hope that my subscribers understand that I'm not making this a racial issue. I'm not. We're learning here. This case is super interesting. We talk about true crime stories here, and we look at the evidence, we analyze, we do it all here. So it's not about black and white because we're human. Like Tupac said, it's not about black and white because we're human. And so I guess the jury instructions are not public. Darn. All right, let me go one more thing here. Let's go back to I want to go to my playlist. There's a playlist here for, I thought I started one for him. Here we go. No. Oh no, I had an update that. No, never mind. Now what is this? Why does he look like you guys ever watch The Matrix? Why does he look like Neo from The Matrix? Like, I'm not even kidding you. Yo, why does he look like Neo from The Matrix? You guys know Neo? Hold on, like, what the fuck? No, not Neo. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? Morpheus, Morpheus. When he has that like the same. Oh my god, that's so funny. He looks like Morpheus. Oh boy, let's play this. What? Wait, he's asking for a court appointed attorney. Oh boy. First of all, like this is possibly like normal legal language, like standard language, but the fact that they're highlighting it is ridiculous. No, there were zero objections in this case. I don't know. I shouldn't say because I haven't seen the transcripts. But that I heard of, there were zero objections in this during cross examination, during the witness testimonies, which I find totally weird because when listening to certain witness statements and what they were saying, I'm like, wait a second. How can the prosecution ask legal question, like legal advice? You can't just ask a witness legal advice. You can't ask the witness if you think that if you believe if this was self-defense or not. You can't ask those questions in my opinion. I think it's pretty I wouldn't say poetic justice, but like what do you call it, fitting. I should say it's fitting that he's going to serve at least 17 years before any parole because that was the age of Austin Metcalf. Right. Okay. Well, that's that. Um, I mean, like this Croc girl, she's like blowing up now for her statements, but I don't think I saw anything wrong with what she was saying. I mean, I don't like certain parts of I don't like certain things of what she was saying, like when it as it relates to like her promoting herself. You know, that part I don't like, but I don't think she said anything wrong. That's just my opinion. Let me talk to the chat. Law and crime? Okay, let me go there. Let me go there. You know what I've been doing I've been looking at this freaking footage, looking at these cars. This is what I was working on. Um where am I? Law and crime. Let's check it out. 2 hours ago. Here we go. Amy, this is the one you're talking about? Bad? I don't know. They're stuck on the numbers, but I'm looking at the charge. I'm looking at the first degree rather than second degree or manslaughter. I'm looking at the charge. I don't know why they're stuck on the sentencing. Okay, sorry, you guys. My bad. Okay, here we go. Let's share it again. Sorry. Here we go. Let's go. My bad, you guys.
Demonstrates to the parole board that, okay, he's worthy of a second chance because of what he has done while an inmate. So he'll have a chance to prove himself as an inmate and have an opportunity perhaps for a second chance at life, still in his mid-30s, which is young.
Right. And I mean, if he serves the entire sentence, I think he'd be 54 years old, which on one hand, you're like, wow, he's, a lot older, considering he's just 17. But you heard prosecutors, you heard the family of Austin Metcalf talk about the life sentence that they have to live with. Every Christmas from here on out, there's that empty chair at the table for the rest of their lives. I found it interesting, just the pace of this trial, because this judge had his foot on the gas, it seems, from the very beginning. We did 9 hours on Saturday. Cody Thomas was in the courtroom throughout the entire thing. But then you reach this moment where the verdict comes in, and within an hour, less than that, Karmelo Anthony's mom is on the stand, and she's now defending her son when it comes to the punishment phase. What did you make of that part of the pace of this trial, that we get this verdict, and then immediately we're going right into having the same jury decide what his sentence was going to be?
Yeah. Texas justice is a little different than most of the states that we cover. In most states, you're convicted. All right, next week, next month, maybe in a couple months, you come back for your sentencing. The lawyers take their time to put together their arguments. They may file some briefs. They may collect letters. But in Texas, you got to be ready. You've got to be ready because it's being determined by the jury. So we're not sending the jury home for a month. So if you're a criminal defense attorney in Texas and you've got a 17-year-old's life in your hands, and yeah, you may believe that he's innocent, you may believe you're going to win the trial, but you have to be prepared for the moment that you don't. And I thought they could have done a lot more. I mean, a whole lot more, especially in front of a jury. Like they did, the sentence was, again, I still believe he got a lot of benefit from his youth, but you could have put on expert testimony about a 17-year-old's brain and how it works. We've seen that in other cases.
Yeah.
You could have had people assembled and ready to talk about his life up until the point that he took the knife and put it into Austin Metcalf's chest. You could have talked about a whole bunch of things just to put mom up there. Like, I get it. It may have had some impact, but this was in Texas. The battle is the trial. And then if you lose, there's still another battle over the sentencing because it's not automatic. There's so much discretion and it's another chance. And we've seen this through the years of court TV in Texas where, oh my goodness, they were convicted and one side feels like they're victorious. And then the sentencing comes down and everything flips. And they're like, that's all the time they're getting, right? Yeah. So I thought the defense was unprepared for this verdict, unprepared for this moment. And from the way it's been described, it seems that their client, Karmelo Anthony, also was unprepared.
Yeah, Amy, like you said, agreed. 2 days unrested. Also, I feel like, the jury came back with a deliberation immediately, like too quick. So I was listening to other podcasts and experts that were on other podcasts, and they mentioned that once they heard that the verdicts came back so quickly, they already knew that the jury had their mind set up. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of odd to me. They already had their mind set where they were going to go because for a first degree murder charge, 2 hours. And you know what other people were stating too? That typically what happens is that these jurors, they also get time for a meal. They have lunch or dinner, whatever, what have you, whatever it is. So it could have been less than 3 hours. It could have very well been less than 3 hours that they already had the verdicts. Um, so that was very telling as to, I mean, there was no thought. I mean, they put no thought into this. It's wild. It's wild to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Cody talked about how stoic Karmelo Anthony was throughout the entire trial, even like the heaviest points of, the body cam video, the 911 calls, some of the testimony from some of the coaches who were.
Yeah, but in retrospect here, he's appealing. And if he has a brand new trial, if he has a, this is good. It's good that they were stoic and he didn't show any, he didn't show any emotion, because that could have been used against him in this appeal. Right? Don't you think?
There, and there just was not a lot of emotion. And then when that guilty verdict came in, it just appears that there was a release of that emotion. One more thing on the sentencing part too, and it was the sudden passion argument in this, because if the jury found that this was done in sudden passion, which I do feel like we hear a lot in like domestic violence cases, where you may have someone who in that moment ends up killing their partner, and it's just because in that moment there was that sudden passion that led to it. If sudden passion was found, it'd be 2 to 20 years, which is a completely different kind of situation we could be dealing with today. But I also felt like looking at this, we had gone past the point where sudden passion could have been entered in, because by the time you had the guilty murder verdict and you had been arguing that this was self-defense, it just doesn't feel like sudden passion then fits into that, because you would have to believe that Austin Metcalf provoked Karmelo Anthony. And by the time that you have that guilty verdict on murder, like, we're already past that point.
Yeah. And the jury is the fact finder, right? So they figure out collectively what they believe happened here. And let's look at those facts for a second, right? If it's sudden passion, to me, in a scenario like this, would be more like, okay, there's an argument, and then it gets physical, and then maybe you overreact by introducing a weapon, but you like grab something. That's not what happened here. The verbal provocation by Karmelo Anthony, the testimony was consistent. He's got his hand in the bag, and we know the knife is in the bag, and we know it's a pocket knife, and it's not folded when he pulls it out. It's ready to go.
We don't know that.
So the fact that the verbal provocation of touch me, see what happens. Touch me, see what happens. Touch me, see what happens. The passion is gone. This is time to contemplate, to think, to premeditate what you're going to do in that moment. So I'm with you. At that point, the sudden passion is gone. And the tricky thing about self-defense is, when you allege self-defense, you're saying that, yeah, you did it.
Yeah, I believe that the whole sudden passion thing, that should have been brought up earlier in the trial. That should have been an argument that the defense had ready to go. And as Vinny here was stating, then you would have to prove that Austin was provoking you for that. That's how the penal code goes. That's how the ruling goes, right? Yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. Okay. Oh, another thing I wanted to add. Vinny is an asshole. They all are. All of these are Muppets for mainstream media. I'm sorry. They're Muppets for mainstream media. They're just, feeding you what, Oh, hey, sweetie. Get down.
On purpose, right? Because there was also an opportunity for manslaughter in this case, which is a reckless standard, right? It's reckless, not intentional. But self-defense is not reckless. You don't recklessly defend yourself. You purposely, intentionally defend yourself because you believe you are the victim. So you are intentionally acting.
Yeah, that's the whole problem here.
And stabbing.
That's the problem here, that his attorney failed to prove the self-defense.
Austin Metcalf because you believe you're the victim and you're in danger
Yeah, we
of
get
great bodily
it.
harm or death.
We get
So
it.
it's
We get the law. We get it. We've read it. Vinny, we get it. The defense failed to prove self-defense. Period. Full stop.
difficult to argue out of both sides of your mouth to say it's self-defense, because self-defense, to me, by definition, is an intentional act, and then expect maybe the jury comes back finding that it was reckless behavior to do that. And I don't see the connection there. The reckless behavior would be, oh, I'm trying to scare people. I just pull out the knife, get away from me, and then, recklessly wave it around and someone gets stabbed. That's not this case.
Well, and I think too, like looking at this case, it seemed like the defense, like there was a big portion of this that was about whether or not Karmelo Anthony had a right to be under that tent. Like there was like some friend he might have known, this kid, Eddie.
That's irrelevant. Whether he had to be there or not is irrelevant, because at the same time, the defense can also argue, hey, you're going to say Karmelo wasn't supposed to be here. Then guess what? Who wasn't supposed to be there? Austin Metcalf wasn't supposed to be there that day. So you can't make an argument about this.
And Eddie may have waved him over. There was this, we talked a lot about tent culture at track meets, where for Austin Metcalf's team, like no one is ever allowed to go.
Tent culture is not the law. He wasn't breaking any rules. It's not the law. This whole tent culture bullshit.
Under the tent, but then you had Carmelo's coach saying that, having someone under the tent, like, wasn't really that big of a deal. Like, and I wondered as that was kind of playing out, like, does any of that actually matter? Because, like, to me, I think it just gets to the point where they're having words. There is this shove, and then the response to the shove was a stab wound to the chest. And, like, to me, anything else outside of the bubble of that moment just doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't at the end of the day. And my guess is, based on the testimony, it seems like, he went there maybe initially because of the rain, and then maybe he was there, but then comes verbal and physical. And it appears from the verdict that the jury is looking at Karmelo Anthony as the one who is provoking and escalating the situation, even though he does not make the first physical contact. And that was what was different here. The first physical contact, the people who believed it was self-defense really zeroed in on that, right? That the fight is started by whoever touches who first, because, sticks and stones can break our bones, but names will never hurt us, right? And that was the line. The question is, where is the line in this provocation? Is the provocation the shoving, or is the provocation the touch me and see what happens, and the refusal to leave and the escalation of the actual confrontation?
Why do you think Karmelo Anthony didn't testify?
That boggles the mind.
Oh, God, he's like, really? You have nothing for that? I mean, I think it's, in retrospect, like I said before, I mean, once he appealed, right? What if the appeal is approved, and guess what? He gets a whole new trial. Not testifying actually could help him instead of hurting him. So let's see.
That Jeff Metcalf, Austin's dad, and then even his mom, Megan, that they made as they were.
Blue says her husband is the high school athletic director. That's awesome. Actually, that's amazing. He's probably got a lot on his plate. And the head football coach. No one gives a fuck who visits who's 10. And when it's raining, you really think, who is out here watching? Who is out here? Who is the tent Nazi? Or vigilante, the tent vigilante Nazi, telling people, oh, you don't belong here. Like the soup Nazi in Seinfeld. Who was the tent Nazi here? Saying, no, you don't belong. You don't belong
making
here.
Their statements after the sentence yesterday. And one of them, Jeff Metcalf, saying to look him in the eye. And apparently Karmelo Anthony didn't do that, didn't say anything.
I mean, in my opinion, the only reason is that he was probably coached by his defense team and told no eye contact, don't look. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure they may have taken it personal, but he may have been coached by his defense team not to look at the other party. You know what I mean?
Only kind of sense of remorse we have is from his mom when she was kind of pleading to the jury, saying that she does believe that her son is sorry for what happened. You know, on the testifying part, that's the part is like, what did you have to lose? Because when I look at the testimony, and I know there's some people that disagreed with this verdict, but I just felt like through the 21 witnesses that the prosecution brought, and a lot of them were Austin Metcalf's friends, his teammates, and the defense brought that up in the closing. But, you know, the people who were closest to it all said that they did not believe that this was self-defense and told the jury that straight up. And then you have the defense witnesses, and there were a couple there. There was
But that's when the defense objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor. How are you going to ask the freaking witness if they believe it's self-defense? Why? Why would you ask this witness, 17-year-old high school student, if they believed that he acted in self-defense? You know?
even like one who wasn't even a member of either of the high schools, and none of them looked and said that they believed it was self-defense. And the only person that could talk about being scared in that moment and what was actually going on was Karmelo Anthony. And that's the thing for me is like, what was the worst that could have happened based on the situation of how the trial appeared to be going for me on the outside, just kind of seeing the updates from the courtroom? Like, what was the worst case scenario for them based on the situation they were in? And I know the prosecution was also, it seems like, very good in this trial, but I just don't know what they had to lose in that situation of having him just being on the stand, perhaps getting emotional and talking about how afraid he actually was.
Yes, you're correct. So something else here, in a self-defense case, in criminal cases, defendants never want to get up there and admit what they did and apologize for what they did, right? Because a lot of times they're saying, I didn't do it.
Right.
But he's saying that he did it here. So you can get up there and you can admit what you did, you explain why, but you can also demonstrate the remorse. In the guilt phase, you can do that and explain that you didn't want to do this, but because of the threat, because I'm sitting down.
I don't know. I thought this as well, Vinny. I initially had this thought that he needs to tell the jury what was he going through. But now I kind of like see the other side of it. I'm seeing the side of like, you know, maybe it was good that he didn't testify, because then now you're going to have the prosecution cross-examining you. And now perhaps the prosecution could poke holes in your statements and say, oh, so, I mean, again, think about it. This is a 19-year-old kid. He's a 19-year-old kid. He could answer or respond in a certain way that the prosecution will use that and flip it. And it's like, oh, so you did not act on self-defense. Oh, so you did not act on self-defense. You get what I'm saying? So in essence, I think it may have been a good move for him not to take the stand, actually, in retrospect.
He's standing up. He's huge. He's coming at me. I'm afraid of what's going to happen. That's why I acted. I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't, but I did. And I felt threatened in the moment. And
yeah, but this guy's not thinking about what if the prosecution goes, explain to me step by step what you did. Demonstrate it. And he could probably say the wrong thing or whatever, or the truth, whatever it is. And immediately his argument for self-defense immediately could go out the window right away.
Even if they don't let you go, it humanizes you. It could garner some level of sympathy, and that plays right into part 2 of the case. If they find you guilty, oh my goodness, like, we're not going to send him away for 35 years.
Yeah, but the defense, there were other ways to prove that. There were other ways the defense could have used to humanize him. If that's what you're talking about humanizing him, there were other tactics the defense could have used.
Years, we'll send them away for 20 years. Like those numbers there's a big difference between 35 and 20. There's a big difference between 10 and 4. Like all of that was in play in this case. And they didn't address it. They didn't allow it. And I don't know if the defense thought the fact that the physical confrontation was started by the victim here, Austin Metcalf, that perhaps at that moment that was enough, but in the end it wasn't.
Yeah, and you heard some of the testimony of what specifically some of the words were being said back and forth, which I get it. You're at a sporting event. Everybody, at times can be talking trash, but this obviously escalated. You just wonder how damning that potentially could have been. I also found it shocking that why does he have a knife? Like that to me was a question that just hung over.
Amy, there we go. Amy, exactly what you said. Number one, why do you have that knife? Why didn't they prove, I mean, like I said, this is a good case. This is a good case for a defense attorney entering, for a law student wanting to be a defense attorney. Look at all these flaws. Look at all these flaws. The defense never proved why was he carrying a knife. Scratch that. Was it a knife? Was it a pocket knife? Tell me, what weapon was it? I'm hearing different things from different outlets, and for a first degree charge, something this severe, we're not clear as to the weapon.
This entire trial, and it seems the defense, it wasn't illegal for him to have the knife. I get it, but they're still kind of okay, why'd you bring it? Is this something where, I was talking to Cody about this one. It's they had said previously, he liked camping. Could they have said oh, he always has it in his bag because he likes to go camping? And maybe that's not the situation it was, but it just seems like you needed more, if I was a juror, than, well, it's not illegal. It's against school policy, but it's not illegal for him to have a knife. And it just seems like they didn't really address that, the defense.
Yeah. And the bottom line is another fact that is really bad for the defense when it comes to all this and trying to explain it is that he knows it's there. So it can't be oh, I didn't realize it was there and then I saw it, because the hand goes into the bag during the verbal provocation. So he knows he has it. And so he brought it there. So you'd have to explain why. Is there an innocent explanation for bringing a knife? And there could be. There very well could be. I don't know. I'm not a track guy, but is there anything with your cleats or anything associated with going to a track meet that you might use it, even though you shouldn't, but you do use it for whatever reason? That's possible. At the end of the day, it's another missed opportunity, because you've got to. I don't think the defense really understood what they were asking this jury to do, right? You're asking them to set him free. And Austin Metcalf's family is there. The members of the jury know that a 17-year-old's life was taken. They know that he was unarmed, and you're asking to just send him home and say, that was fine. That was justified. And you cannot get there without allowing the jury to understand your perspective and answer all of those questions. And yeah, you're going to face cross-examination, but it's not like he's going to get caught up in admitting to doing it, because he already admitted that he did it. It all comes down to why and what he perceived.
Okay. I think I make a better argument than Vinny.
It was shocking to read.
I'm always tooting my own horn here, right?
It's always one of the issues that is put in every appeal. How often does it win? Not that often. I mean, there have been cases where defense attorneys have fallen asleep during the trial, and appellate courts have found that was not ineffective assistance of counsel. I think, though,
Oh
on
my
the
God.
appeal, the most shocking parts of what was described as happening in that courtroom were witnesses coming to the conclusion, I think you mentioned it, that this was not self-defense. That's the jury's job. That's the jury's got to figure that out. That's a
Thank you. Thank you. Why are you asking the witnesses if it's self-defense?
the conclusion of law. Like, witnesses can't get up there and testify, oh yeah, he murdered him. He can say, I saw him kill him, but not come to the legal conclusion that someone murdered someone. You
Right.
can't come to the conclusion that someone did not do it in self-defense. Like, that's like a legal conclusion. So that in and of itself could be problematic on appeal. I don't know if the defense was objecting all the way along. Maybe they waived some of those issues. Maybe an appellate court will find that's so egregious that we can't allow that. Or maybe that's the ineffective assistance of counsel for not objecting to testimony like that. I don't know. To me, that was very unusual to hear witnesses giving conclusions of law, which were basically what the trial was about. Like,
Yes.
you know,
That's right here.
this was not self-defense.
Yep.
What do you mean it was not? That's what we have the jury
Objection,
here
Your
for, to
Honor.
determine if it was self-defense or not.
And multiple times. I mean, multiple witnesses said that openly to the jury throughout the trial. But it ends with a guilty verdict for Karmelo Anthony, 35 years in prison. Vinny Politan, host of Vinny Politan Investigates. You can see it on the Court TV YouTube channel. So cool to have you here, Vinny. Thanks for talking about this case with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Chris. Great to see you.
You might remember when Karmelo Anthony was arrested in April of 2025, there was a controversial online fundraiser that was launched to raise money for his family. Now, that fund.
I don't know. This part, I'm not going to get into it because it could all be rumors and, you know, I just don't want to talk about it. Thank you so much. Hey, thank you. Thank you for being here. All right, you guys, I'm out of here. Amy, Blue, you guys rock. Thank you.